Selamat sore Bapak dan Ibu yang kami hormati. Pertama-tama kami ucapkan selamat datang di acara partnership event dari program kampanye Warna-Warni Eropa, Cita Rasa Unggulan di Indonesia. Mohon berikan tepuk tangan sebelum kita memulai acara pada hari ini. Terima kasih. Perkenalkan terlebih dahulu, nama saya Kenia Gusnaini dan saya akan menjadi moderator pada acara partnership event dari program kampanye Warna-Warni Eropa Cita Rasa Unggulan di Pasar Indonesia pada hari ini. Senang sekali bisa menyambut Bapak dan Ibu dan tentunya kami berikan sambutan hangat untuk para tamu terhormat kami, para pembicara, serta Anda para hadirin sekalian yang telah menyempatkan waktu untuk datang hadir di acara sore hari ini berkumpul bersama kami. Ya, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, hari ini telah bergabung bersama kita perwakilan dari Uni Eropa, perwakilan dari negara anggota Uni Eropa, para mitra dagang termasuk importir produk makanan Uni Eropa, distributor, retailer, ada beberapa chef juga, pengusaha kuliner, serta teman-teman Bapak Ibu dari Asosiasi Industri Bidang Makanan dan juga saya lihat sudah ada beberapa teman media di sini ya. Ya, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, sejak peluncuran program kampanye Warna-Warni Eropa Cita Rasa Unggulan di Indonesia pada bulan Agustus 2021 yang lalu, Uni Eropa telah berkolaborasi dengan mitra F&B untuk menyajikan produk makanan dan minuman Uni Eropa dalam bentuk perjalanan kuliner dan budaya, menggunakan cerita-cerita tentang makanan dan juga visual yang diterapkan melalui sejumlah aksi public relation dan media sosial, serta promosi untuk konsumen dan aktivasi di bidang retail. Dan tentunya acara partnership event hari ini bertujuan untuk memberikan apresiasi dan terima kasih kami kepada mitra dagang dan media atas dukungan mereka dalam mempromosikan produk makanan dan minuman Uni Eropa di Indonesia. Dan tentunya hari ini kita juga berkumpul untuk menjalin kolaborasi yang lebih jauh lagi dan dukungan yang berkelanjutan dari jaringan bisnis bidang makanan dan minuman dan tentunya juga untuk memperkuat kehadiran produk-produk Uni Eropa di pasar Indonesia. Dan saat ini Yang Mulia Vincent Piquet, Duta Besar Uni Eropa untuk Indonesia dan Brunei Darussalam juga telah hadir bersama kita hari ini untuk secara resmi membuka acara partnership event. His Excellency Vincent Piquet, the European Union Ambassador to Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam is here with us today to officially grace the partnership event. Dan His Excellency Ambassador Vincent Piquet tidak sendiri Bapak dan Ibu, juga telah hadir didampingi oleh sejumlah pembicara pada acara hari ini. Ambassador Piquet will be joined by a number of speaker. Yang sudah hadir bersama kita adalah His Excellency Jaroslav Dolecek, Ambassador of the Czech Republic for Indonesia, Yang Mulia Jaroslav Dolecek, Duta Besar Republik Ceko untuk Indonesia. Kemudian telah hadir juga Bapak Sylvian Biart, Commercial Counselor Trade and Investment Commission Business France. Selanjutnya ada Dr. Hanne Larsen, Minister Counselor Food and Agriculture, Kedutaan Besar Denmark untuk Indonesia. Kemudian juga ada Bapak Roy Nicholas Mande, Ketua Umum Asosiasi Pengusaha Retail Indonesia atau APRindo. Baik, pembicara pada event hari ini akan berbagi insight tentang rencana bisnis dan juga upaya untuk menghubungkan dengan jaringan bisnis Indonesia dalam mendukung promosi dan kolaborasi untuk memperkuat kehadiran produk makanan Uni Eropa di pasaran. Tapi sebelum kita mulai, saya ingin menyampaikan pada Anda informasi singkat tentang negara-negara Uni Eropa. Uni Eropa sendiri merupakan perserikatan politik dan ekonomi dari 27 negara anggotanya, dengan estimasi populasi yang mencapai 446 juta jiwa. Uni Eropa merupakan salah satu blok dagang terbesar di dunia Bapak dan Ibu, termasuk juga sektor agri-foodnya ya, dan ini mempekerjakan 4 juta pekerja di lebih dari 300.000 bisnisnya. Jadi memang luar biasa industri agri-food di Uni Eropa ini sendiri ya. Dan ke-27 negara anggota Uni Eropa ini adalah Austria, Belgia, Bulgaria, Kroasia, Cyprus, Ceko, Denmark, Estonia, Finlandia, Prancis, Jerman, Yunani, Hongaria, Irlandia, Italia, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Belanda, Polandia, Portugal, Romania, Swedia, Slovakia, Slovenia, dan juga Spanyol. Dan tentunya Bapak Ibu, ke-27 negara Uni Eropa ini selalu mengedepankan cita rasa unggulan ya kalau kita berbicara mengenai produksi makanan dan minuman ya. Nanti kita akan simak lebih lanjut lagi dalam diskusi dengan para pembicara. Baik, kalau begitu tanpa menunggu lebih lama lagi langsung saja saya akan mengundang ke atas panggung para pembicara yang terhormat. And without waiting any longer, I would like to invite all the speakers to join me to the stage. Please welcome and give applause to His Excellency Vincent Piquet, the European Union Ambassador to Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam, His Excellency Jaroslav Doleček, Ambassador of the Czech Republic to Indonesia, Mr. Sylvian Bjar, Commercial Counselor, Trade and Investment Commission, Business France, Dr. Hanne Larsen, Minister Counselor, Food and Agriculture, Embassy of Denmark to Indonesia, dan Bapak Roy Nicholas Mande, Chair of Indonesian Retailer Association atau APRindo. Please welcome to the set. We give big applause. Pak Vincent, Mr. Vincent, you can sit here. And then Mr. Jaroslav. And then Mr. Sylvian Bjar. Oh, right here? Oh, okay. Thank you for joining us today and share about your insight about EU food and beverage product and its present to Indonesian market. Oke, ladies and gentlemen, Bapak dan Ibu, langsung saja kita akan memberikan waktu pada Bapak Vincent Piquet untuk memulai speech-nya. Now let us welcome His Excellency Vincent Piquet, the European Union Ambassador to Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam, to grace and share details about this EU Agricultural Food Campaign in Indonesia. Langsung saja kita sambut Yang Mulia Vincent Piquet, Duta Besar Uni Eropa untuk Indonesia dan Brunei Darussalam untuk menyampaikan sambutan dan sekaligus membuka acara hari ini serta berbagi informasi tentang program kampanye produk makanan Uni Eropa di Indonesia. His Excellency, please.
Terima kasih banyak, Madam Moderator. Dear participants in this meeting, very happy to see you this afternoon and to be able to share with you a little bit of the passion that the European Union and the European Union member states have for European food and food products, and to be able to share that with you together with Pak Roy Mande, Chair of APRindo, the Indonesian Retail Association, that evidently has a lot to contribute to the promotion and the sale of food products in general, including those from the EU. I'll be brief. There's some delicacies waiting for us. They're looking at you as we speak. And so let me say a couple of things. First of all, about this campaign, Colors by Europe, Tastes of Excellence. This is a campaign that is global, and our activities in Indonesia are part of it. We've been doing it since August last year. Of course, COVID did not really help, but still we persisted and we've had a wonderful response. It's the first time that we're doing such a campaign in Indonesia, and we cover all products that the EU has on offer, agricultural products such as meat and cheese and dairy. We have a special focus on products with a so-called geographic indication, also dairy, olive oil, wines and beers, and we have a special focus on organic products coming from all our 27 member states in the EU. In the campaign, we want to raise awareness of the merits of EU food and beverage, highlight the safety of the products, the quality, the authenticity, and also the sustainability of the products, and share a little bit about that with you, also how to best enjoy these products and how to encourage their purchases. We've had a campaign of a good 14 months, and also to show how the sustainable farming practices of the European Union already now, and certainly they are going to develop fast over the coming decade, and try to explain how people, how citizens, how consumers feel the results of that campaign of sustainable farming in their daily lives. Now, a campaign in Indonesia would be impossible if you don't have partners here in Indonesia. And we're very grateful for the support that we've had from all of you, traders, organizations, media partners, and the hospitality sector in Indonesia as well. EU food, a story about quality, safety, and authenticity, as I mentioned. A couple of comments on that. First of all, quality and authenticity. We have a fantastic cultural and culinary heritage in the EU, like in Indonesia, as a matter of fact, but certainly in the EU with a tremendous diversity of offerings, with a very high number of geographic indications for products that are protected. We've got in the EU more than 3,000 geographic indications for our products, which are as a result protected for their originality and authenticity on the markets worldwide with all countries, including Indonesia, with whom we have such a GI agreement. And as you know, GI products have a specific origin and their characteristics, and that are linked to that origin, and reputation that is linked to that origin. And some of the examples you will see here this afternoon. Some products are indeed already on the Indonesian markets, thanks to you, importers, distributors, and very glad to see that you are able to make your choices for quality foods amongst our offerings. Second point I wanted to highlight is the safety of the EU products. The European Union, across all 27 members, have a very thorough, a very tough quality control and inspection system that is harmonized across our internal market. We have a single market, as you know, and that guarantees that products meet the highest level of food safety inside our territory, but also abroad, because the standards are identical for whether it concerns sales at home or abroad. And that is, I think, a wonderful asset for our partners, our trading partners, to rely on. And we will make sure as EU that we do everything we can to keep it like that. A bit about policy. There's a lot moving on European agro and agro-food policy. We have a big strategy which is called From Farm to Fork strategy. It was drafted against the backdrop of COVID, of course, the pandemic, that showed to everybody that we had to invest in the resilience and the robustness of our food systems. And secondly, of course, we had to take into account the fact of climate change and the risks that are posed by that, expressed by droughts, where we wouldn't have droughts, floodings, forest fires, and different kinds of pests. So that is driving us forward now very strongly, and which is necessary for our own sake in Europe, but it is also beneficial for trading partners like Indonesia, for instance, by the fact that we are going to reduce by 50% the antimicrobials for farmed animals as well as for agriculture. In other words, what we produce in the EU will be safer for the environment, but also safer for the global customer. And we are committed to continue leading on that transition towards sustainability at home, but also abroad. And that is a last thing I could mention, that we work together with the Indonesian authorities to help the authorities and the producing organizations meet similar standards in Indonesia through technical assistance programs and through under our bilateral agreement between Indonesia and the European Union. Very last point is about organic food. You will see quite a few displayed and talked about, and it has a special focus in our campaign, and that is because the EU is one of the largest organic food producers. We are busy increasing the land area for organic farming in the coming decades by not fewer than 25%. And that is also good for a variety of choice, and besides being good for the environment. So this is certainly a big trend that we're going to see more of back in Europe, but also here in Indonesia, I hope. I conclude by thanking you once again for your interest, for your support. I hope you will enjoy the colors and the tastes of our products here tonight. It's a very, very small selection, evidently. There is more, and that is also linked to COVID, of course. We had to plan it this small, but we look forward to being back in Indonesia with our campaign in a larger format, in a fair or similar, in the period to come. And we welcome you very much to joining in with us on that. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Vincent Piquet, for your officiating the event. Thank you for the speech as well. Dan tadi Yang Mulia Vincent Piquet menyampaikan bahwa memang produk-produk makanan dan minuman dari Uni Eropa ini sudah sangat safety, kualitinya juga sangat tinggi ya, dan otentik karena tadi berasal dari berbagai daerah juga dari negara-negara Uni Eropa, dan quality kontrolnya memang sudah tidak diragukan lagi ya. Dan dengan penyampaian speech dari Yang Mulia Vincent Piquet tadi, ini berarti partnership event dari acara ini resmi dibuka. Kita berikan tepuk tangan. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu, selanjutnya kita akan langsung memulai presentasi dari para panel pembicara yang akan membagikan insight tentang rencana bisnis atas kehadiran produk makanan Uni Eropa di pasar Indonesia. Untuk itu langsung saja we would now welcome His Excellency Jaroslav Doleček, Duta Besar Czech Republic untuk Indonesia, to deliver the presentation. Please give applause to His Excellency Jaroslav Doleček.
Honorable colleagues, speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Selamat sore. Selamat sore, is it correct? Okay. It's my pleasure to be here with you today so that we can enjoy the experiences and products on display during the Colors by Europe Taste of Excellence Together. This unique campaign is one by which we European member states can show in a joint effort the results of European agriculture, animal rearing, and the refined food processing industries, all being excellent demonstrations of centuries of hard work. There are a great many Czech agriculture products that are well known around the world, but it goes without saying that stands out among this group, namely that particular industry that the Czech Republic is strong in, beer production. Beer has a long history in our country that dates back to the 10th century, when history first mentions this as being brewed in a Prague monastery. The most common Czech beers are pale lagers of the Pilsner type, with a charismatic, transparent golden color, high foaminess, and lighter flavor. Among the top-selling brands, there are, of course, and world-famous Pilsner Urquell, known as the king of beers, the renowned Budweiser, which unfortunately you can't see and taste here today, and of course many, many others. And this number is increasing with more than 400 micro breweries now located in my country. All this industry to keep up with, unsurprisingly, and the highest beer consumption per capita in the world in the Czech Republic. Of course, we also eat in Czechia, and it's presented in this Czech cookbook. Wherever you like to see, I could go around this book. And the even innovative Czech food industry is often involved in development cooperation projects. For example, in Moldova, Czech winemakers have helped to develop an ecological approach to wine making, while in the Balkan countries, the Czech Development Corporation has focused on milk and cheese production, thus helping to bring the old Yugoslav tradition to bring of Livno cheese back to Bosnia and Herzegovina. But the Czech focus has always been on the breeding of livestock. A traditional Czech cow breed, the Chester, that you will recognize for its typical piebald or spotted skin, is both used for meat and milk production, and it has helped to establish other related breeds all over Europe. Czech farmers are world known, and they regularly share their know-how of holistic and integrated approaches to farming in countries across the globe, ranging from Mongolia to Zambia. Coming back to our host country, Indonesia, a truly gastronomic country whose people have a refined taste for food. So it makes me happy to see the growing interest of Indonesians in exotic European food products. And thus the Czech Embassy in Jakarta is striving to connect Indonesian distributors with those renowned Czech food brands expressing interest in exploring a presence on the Indonesian market. Among those currently represented on the Indonesian market are, for instance, Olma Olomouc, a producer of dairy products, Emco, a breakfast granola mixed products, Hame, a producer of traditional liver pate, and Orion and Opavia, producers of chocolate sweets and biscuits. There would be too many food brands to mention them all, but Czech tradition is also represented in food processing machinery. Czech ingenuity means that our companies propose key solutions across the whole of an animal farm, including meat processing facilities, or they offer both small and large-scale facilities across a variety of subsectors, ranging from bakeries to butcheries. I hope that we will soon see more of these innovators involved in the developments in food production and storage. This is clearly an important campaign that I appreciate, as I believe that this will go a long way to helping establish the European brand on the Indonesian market, which of course I believe will have the added benefit that we will be able to enjoy more and more of the best that European food and our agricultural products have to offer in this region. Thank you very much for your attention. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Jaroslav Doleček, Ambassador of Czech Republic to Indonesia. You may return to your seat. Thank you very much. Ya, Yang Mulia Jaroslav Doleček sendiri tadi menyampaikan memang Uni Eropa khususnya juga Czech Republic ya mempunyai begitu banyak variasi dari produk-produk makanan dan minuman yang sangat berstandar tinggi dan berkualitas, mulai dari ada birnya, kemudian wine, cheese ya, dan para petaninya sendiri juga menerapkan standar kualitas yang sangat tinggi dalam memproduksi produk makanan dan minuman ini. Dan Uni Eropa dalam hal ini juga Czech sangat membuka kesempatan bagi para distributor di Indonesia untuk bisa memperluas kedatangan dari produk-produk makanan dan minuman Eropa di pasar Indonesia. Dan Mr. His Excellency Jaroslav juga sangat mengapresiasi ya kampanye dari produk-produk makanan Uni Eropa di Indonesia, dan tentunya berharap agar kedepannya makin banyak lagi produk makanan dan minuman Eropa yang bisa dinikmati oleh pasar Indonesia. Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu, tadi kita sudah dengarkan presentasi dari His Excellency Jaroslav Doleček, dan selanjutnya kita akan melanjutkan presentasi dari Mr. Sylvian Biar, Commercial Consular Trade and Investment Commission Business France. Therefore, would like to invite Mr. Sylvian Biar, Commercial Consular Trade and Investment Commission Business France, to give his presentation. Please give applause.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Selamat sore, Excellencies, Mr. Chairman, dear colleague as well, and dear Indonesian friends. Very glad to participate to this Colors by Europe initiative, supported by the European Union. I believe food is universal. I've had the chance with some of you to experience some food over dinner and lunch, and I must say that whether you talk about Indonesian people or European people, at the end of the day we share this immoderate love for good food. There is a French writer which summarizes in one sentence this inclination for the gastronomic pleasures. His name is François Rabelais, and he tells us that appetite comes with eating, but the thirst goes away with drinking. So, of course, nothing is better than to implement it directly by testing the products. We will have the chance to do it right after. But let me share some insight as well on the European and especially the French agriculture and food industry together with you. As you may know, in 2010, UNESCO decided to classify the gastronomic meal of the French people as an intangible cultural heritage for humanity. And French gastronomy, but it's also true for European Union countries, is part of a customary social practice intended to celebrate the most important moments in the lives of individuals and groups. Because beyond the dishes, what constitutes the French meal and the European meal is really the social practice that surrounds it, and we feel it as well in Indonesia, I must say. The conviviality, the pleasure of taste, the sharing, the association with beverages, especially wine in Europe, or beer, but other drinks as well, and the link to the terroirs. So these are really festive moments by excellence, and shall it be a cause and effect link or not, it does not come as a surprise that Europe at large and France, more specifically also, both stands as global agriculture and food power, despite moderate surface area that we have in Europe, less than 550 square kilometers for France, for instance. Yet, the food industry is very important for the French and European economy. For instance, French exports yearly for over 11 billion euro of wines, 8.65 billion euro of cereals. I will just mention a few figures, but 6.7 billion euro of dairy products and cheese, and so on and so forth. Yet, I believe that Europe at large and Indonesia do not trade enough together, especially in the food segment, not only, but especially in the food segment, and we appreciate the support of the food and beverage community, the consumers, as well as the importers, distributors, and obviously as well the administrations to work on improving the reality on the ground to enable the Indonesian consumers to get access to European products and vice versa. Just to give you a few figures to illustrate this situation, France exports approximately 90 million euro of dairy products and cheese. It is our largest export category with Indonesia. I believe we are among the top 5 provider of dairy products to Indonesia. Yet, in categories like cereals, for instance, we export only 12,000 euro. So, in this respect, everything which will be able to facilitate the trade, and I'm thinking also of the country recognition agreement, which is under renewal between France and Indonesia, will be welcome to also help to address security issues with regards to getting access to cereals. I'm thinking especially of wheat in this global context of tension on agro-commodities markets. Just to illustrate and to come back on the quality and safety really component of the food industry in France and in Europe, I must say that credibility really comes from traceability and control. That's really at the heart of the ecosystem in Europe. Definitely, as it has been mentioned by the ambassador, quality standards are there, but also inspections are conducted in every European countries based on European standards, which ensure European consumers, but more widely global consumers, to get access to quality products and safe products. Protected designation of origin is a quality label regulated by the European Union. It provides the guarantee that these products are made in their region of origin within a defined geographical zone and according to a method handed down from one generation to the next. I believe that Indonesia has something like 19 geographic indications for coffee. And I understand that initiatives are there to push collaboration and cooperation to make recognition of further geographic indications in Indonesia. Europe and France have the same, obviously, trying to promote the products from the terroir, which cannot be produced elsewhere based on the soil, climate, and so on and so forth conditions. Just to give you a few figures, I believe the ambassador mentioned the fact that 3,000 geographic indications are there in Europe. When it comes to France, we account for 131 protected geographical indications, 510 protected designations of origin, and we also have initiatives, as in other countries, with regards to the guarantee for test through labels such as Label Rouge, for instance. You will get the chance to experience lots of European products today. When it comes to France, I believe it will be mostly related to wine and dairy products. Just to give you a few figures, when it comes to dairy products, we have in France over 15 different products. For cheese only, it's 1,200 varieties of cheese which are produced in different geographies. You may have to drive 5 kilometers to find a different cheese, for instance. And when it comes to wine, the diversity is very strong as well, depending on the soils, the climates, the grape varieties, the people who make the wine. And so you will be able to enjoy some samples here, but obviously you are welcome in the more than 10,000 wine cellars in France, which are welcoming public and tourists for tour and testing. So, in addition to offering to Indonesia made in Europe and made in France agricultural products, food products and beverages, we are, as our colleagues from Europe, very keen in also pushing towards European and French enterprises to propose made in Indonesia food products and beverages. I will not mention all the French enterprises which have invested in Indonesia to produce as well local food and beverages products, but just to mention a few, we may talk about Danone, for instance, in child nutrition and water. We have Le Safre, which is in the yeast industry. We have Tereos in the starch industry, and many enterprises, for instance, in aromas. So products which come into the food industry of Indonesia. Delighted as well to work on providing ingredients, equipments, machineries, technologies to help Indonesia develop its own food processing industry further through initiatives like Making Indonesia 4.0 or the Halal Estates initiatives which have been taken as well. And so we'll be happy to help this initiative. For instance, France is providing the first provider for animal vaccines here in Indonesia, the fourth one for bovine genetics. So these are areas we will be happy to explore further. And obviously, we will be delighted also to foster and to accompany in Europe and in France further investments as well from Indonesian companies willing to export the Indonesian gastronomy as well. So I am coming towards the end of my presentation. I hope it didn't give you an indigestion yet, but just a few comments to conclude. We remain at your disposal should you look for advice on international trade fairs which are held either in Europe or France, at which you will be able to meet with potential food and beverage industry players in France or in Europe. I can mention the Space, for instance, in the breeding industry next September, the SIAL, obviously, the processed food industry fair in October, and we have also the Wine Paris and Vin Expo, for instance, next February. And to conclude, do not hesitate to reach to us once again if you would like to be bridged with potential French enterprises and producers. I will conclude there. I thank once again the delegation for the support to this Colors by Europe initiative, which is very much welcome to make European products more known here. I look forward to exchanging with you, and I conclude by saying terima kasih banyak for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sylvian Bjerg. We give applause. Commercial Counselor, Trade and Investment Commission, Business France. Ya, bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang membutuhkan penterjemah bisa mengambil alat untuk penterjemah di meja registrasi. Dan kalau tadi sedikit speech dari Mr. Sylvian Bjerg, memang kalau kita bicara produk makanan Uni Eropa tidak bisa lepas dari namanya produk makanan dan minuman dari France juga ya, dari Perancis, karena ini juga terkait erat dengan culture di Perancis, kemudian geographic indication di mana setiap produk makanan dan minuman yang dihasilkan itu akan berbeda secara geografis tergantung dari climate-nya, tergantung dari pembuatnya dan banyak hal ya, jadi berbeda-beda rasanya. Dan Uni Eropa sendiri termasuk juga France itu merupakan top 5 dari provider dairy product dan cheese, termasuk yang sering kita konsumsi di tanah air itu juga banyak merupakan dairy product dan cheese dari Uni Eropa, khususnya juga dari France ya. Dan food industry sendiri menjadi salah satu bagian yang sangat penting di ekonomi Eropa dan juga tentunya di France. Dan Mr. Sylvian Bjerg tadi tentunya juga berharap akan ada kolaborasi yang lebih erat lagi dengan asosiasi dan community di Indonesia untuk meluaskan pasar produk makanan F&B di market Indonesia. Baik, sekali lagi thank you Mr. Sylvian Bjerg for your presentation. Dan selanjutnya Bapak dan Ibu kita akan langsung sambut saja Dr. Hanne Larsen, Minister Counselor Food and Agriculture, the Embassy of Denmark to Indonesia, to give her presentation. Please give applause.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for being here today. Denmark is a food nation, and the Danish agriculture and food production is the story of being a front-runner nation when it comes to food safety, when it comes to a resource-effective, sustainable and organic food production, and also the story about using low quantities of antibiotics and pesticides. And throughout the steady refinement of production techniques, Denmark has learned to make the most of the relatively small agricultural area and agricultural land that is available to us. Today we produce 3 times more food than the Danish population can consume. And in all over Europe, we understand the need for a stable production and delivery that must function under all circumstances and also under crisis situations. The beauty of Indonesia is overwhelming, and the unique culinary heritage of Indonesia is diverse, it's mind-blowing, it's also very spicy, and it deserves the greatest respect and attention. Denmark is on the gastronomic world map too. Not for as long as France, for instance, but the gastronomy has undergone a rapid transition in the last decade. The development have influenced the gastronomic scene, but also the general food production. So new trends provide incentives for farmers and food companies to refine their products and their taste. You will find some famous restaurants in Denmark where Nordic cuisine is about the creativity and the use of locally sourced and seasonal raw material. Sustainability and organic food is important, as His Excellency the Ambassador of the EU said a little while ago. We work together with the other EU countries within the framework of the EU policy initiatives and EU Green Deal and the ambitious target for climate-friendly farm-to-fork production. The use of antibiotics in dairy, poultry, and pork production is low, which has a positive impact on human health by lowering the risk of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. And Denmark is an organic world leader and the home of the world's largest organic dairy company and the Europe's biggest organic meat company. And it's the country where organic food has the largest market share in the world, with about 12% of total food retail sale being organic. We are very proud to be chosen to cooperate with Indonesia's Ministry of Agriculture about developing a sustainable and organic dairy production, the beginning being on East Java. Ensuring safe food supply, that's a challenge that we all share together. Food safety is an absolute priority in Europe, and it has been for many years. Strict standards and regulations are in place to guarantee the product safety throughout the whole value chain. And all of us here and all the consumers, we need food that we can trust. In EU, routine inspections and mandatory labeling help consumers with product safety. And in Denmark, we take pride in a very high standard of food safety and also a high standard for animal health, which is made possible through a strong tradition for collaboration between the private sectors, the research institutions, and the authorities. Agenda-setting consumers are demanding healthy, safe, and sustainable food. Their wish is to make a difference through their purchasing choices and their consumption. And in general, people have become more conscious about healthy, nutritious food as an important way to a healthier living. And there's a growing care for environment-friendly production. The time spent on cooking is decreasing, making convenient, ready-to-eat food products in high demand. But they still have to be tasty, on high quality, safe, and produced in a sustainable manner. We believe in Europe that we could deliver on that, and also, of course, in Denmark. Through our agricultural production and our food products, we need to deliver on these consumer demands, and we need to do it every day. About the Danish products here today, we have butter, beer, and the ever classic beverage fruit juice that are traditional products with a long history from our country. Butter as an ingredient, for instance, in the Danish butter cookies, or as spread, that's a part of a strong Danish dairy tradition, and together with cheese and yogurt, it's a popular table setting for any meal. Both the story of the butter and the Carlsberg beer from Denmark goes back to the 19th century. Fruit production and the making of fruit juice is something Denmark shares with Indonesia. For many years, fruit juices and concentrates have been a strong part of the food industry, and I hope you will find all of the European displaced products here tasty today. And please reach out to us if there is anything that you might think we can cooperate about, because Denmark is also about ingredients and it's also about equipment and a lot of innovation. So if you think that we are a partner that could be of interest, then please reach out to us, to the Danish Embassy. So finally, I would like to thank all of you for being here. I hope you will find it very tasty, and I will especially thank the EU delegation and His Excellency, the Ambassador Vincent Piquet, for making this event possible, and for the opportunity, together with my fellow colleagues here, to demonstrate the colors by Europe through food and beverages. Terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ibu Hanne Larsen, Minister Council of Food and Agriculture dari Kedutaan Besar Denmark untuk Indonesia. Ya, tadi Ibu Hanne Larsen menyampaikan bahwa memang saat ini orang-orang lebih concern untuk mengkonsumsi makanan yang sehat. Jadi apapun yang dikonsumsi itu harus lebih sehat begitu ya. Dan ini bisa ditemukan tidak hanya sehat tapi juga cita rasanya enak tentunya dan juga berkualitas tinggi. Dan ini bisa ditemukan di makanan-makanan produk Uni Eropa, terutama juga di Denmark ya, yang memang sudah terkenal dengan food safety-nya, kemudian stable delivery, dan yang terpenting tadi organik dan sangat minim penggunaan pestisida, sehingga memang aman untuk dikonsumsi baik dari segala usia begitu. Dan ini tentunya saat ini kita sebagai konsumen membutuhkan benar-benar produk yang bisa dipercaya dan untuk aman untuk dikonsumsi, dan ini bisa ditemukan di produk-produk F&B dari Uni Eropa, salah satunya juga dari Denmark. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, tadi kita sudah mendengarkan insight dari para speaker kita ya, dari His Excellency Vincent Piquet dan juga yang lainnya. Dan sekarang kita akan coba mendengarkan dari sisi perusahaan pengusaha retail Indonesia ya. Kita akan langsung saja kita sambut Bapak Roy Nicholas Mande, Ketua Umum Asosiasi Pengusaha Retail Indonesia atau APRindo, dan beliau juga Head of Permanent Commission on Domestic Trade, Commerce and Consumer Protection of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry atau KADIN, dan juga sekaligus Vice Chairman of Federation Asia Pacific Retail Association. Silakan Pak Roy Nicholas Mande.
Yes, thank you very much. Allow me to speak gado-gado, yeah? Mix in Indonesian and English, yeah? Because most of the audience came from the Indonesia, and hope that we'll understand, yeah, about what from our insight. Okay, thank you very much for inviting Indonesia Retailer Association, APRindo, Asosiasi Pengusaha Retail Indonesia. Dan tentunya saya mau menyapa our distinguished guest, Mr. Vincent Piquet. Yeah. You are to be as ambassador of the European Union. Yes. Welcome, Mr. Jaroslav Dolesek. Yeah. Nice to meet you. And Mrs. Sylvain Bayat. Oh, Mr. Sorry, sorry, because in Indonesia, Silva, woman. Sorry, yeah, Mr. Sylvain Biat, yeah, and Miss Hanne Larsen from the Embassy of Denmark. Okay, thank you for your
insight and thank you for your speech about the food and beverage from the European Union, who will promote and will over to our society in Indonesia. Oke, saya mau sampaikan terlebih dulu bahwa pertemuan ini tentunya bukan yang terakhir, tetapi tentunya akan berkelanjutan lagi. Akan ada pertemuan maupun juga akan ada inisiasi-inisiasi yang akan dilakukan oleh setiap kita yang hadir di ruangan ini. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, yang mungkin nggak tersebutkan satu persatu. Saya melihat di sini milenialnya lebih besar ya daripada kolonialnya. Saya kolonial. So this is the young generation who will responsible of our country ya. To move forward our country. Oke, jadi tentunya kenapa saya katakan bahwa ini bukan yang terakhir, tetapi juga ini merupakan awal. Starting for our demanding about the food and beverage from Uni Eropa, dan juga tentunya yang berkaitan dengan selain food and beverage untuk konsumsi, tetapi juga untuk produksi nanti ke depannya. Sedikit share bahwa pertumbuhan untuk, ini saya mengutip saja, pertumbuhan untuk industri makanan dan minuman dari Eropa, ya, itu meningkat dari tahun ke tahun. Sayangnya yang 2021, 2020 saya belum dapat data karena mungkin pandemi, jadi yang membuat datanya juga belum tuntas. Tapi kita lihat di 2015, kemudian 2017. 2015 itu sektor makanan dan minuman dari Eropa achieve around the 23.5 billion euro atau 336 triliun. Itu tahun 2015. 2017 raise up lagi menjadi 130 miliar ya, 130 miliar. Jadi achievement-nya cukup signifikan karena apa? Karena kita tahu bahwa yang pertama populasi kita bertambah terus kedua kesukaan masyarakat, khususnya Indonesia, masyarakat Indonesia, our society itu memang untuk makanan dan minuman Eropa tentunya bukan sesuatu yang baru, bukan sesuatu yang jarang terlihat, ya, bahkan sering terlihat ya. Jadi conjunction daripada peningkatan food and beverage ini tentunya satu kita ketahui consume food and beverage meningkat, dan tentunya ini memberi dampak juga untuk produktivitasnya nanti bisa meningkat. Berharap seperti itu. Food and beverage-nya sebagian mungkin bisa diproduksi di Indonesia dan seterusnya, sehingga tentunya membuat kita punya harga lebih kompetitif, harga food and beverage-nya lebih kompetitif, dan juga tentunya ada keseriusan untuk terus meningkatkan food and beverage dari Eropa. Oh ya, saya sedikit 1 menit mungkin perkenalan mengenai Aprindo, kalau sebagian yang sudah kenal atau yang belum tahu. Aprindo ini Asosiasi Pengusaha Retail Indonesia. Kita berdiri dari tahun 94, 28 tahun yang lalu. Ada 600 member di seluruh Indonesia, dari Aceh sampai dengan Jayapura, Timika baru kita buka, ada toko anggota kita. Dan almost 45 ribunya itu retail di Indonesia adalah food retail. Jadi food yang bergerak di bidang pangan ya. Kemudian 2000-nya adalah retail yang non pangan. Nah, jadi mungkin Bapak Ibu Saudara sebelum ke tempat ini mungkin pernah mampir ke minimarket, nah itu pasti anggota kita. Ya, minimarket yang ada di jalan-jalan umum kita atau jalan-jalan dekat rumah kita pasti anggota kita. Indomart, Alfamart, itu pasti itu adalah anggota kita. Kemudian jadi 45.000 adalah retail food retailers, dan 2.000 itu non-food retailers, artinya department store ya, Matahari, department store Ramayana, Metro dan seterusnya. Sesuai kita hadir untuk memenuhi kebutuhan Bapak Ibu sekalian, basic and daily needs. Ada 5 tipe retailer di Indonesia. there are 5 types retailers in Indonesia among the nationwide. Yang pertama kita sebut minimarket, supermarket, hypermarket, wholesaler, dan brand store atau department store. Ya mungkin itu sedikit mengenai Aprindo kalau Bapak Ibu yang belum mengetahui Aprindo. Nah, jadi yang pertama tadi saya mau sampaikan bahwa terjadi increasing of volume and value dari food and beverage from Eropa. This is the fact. Ini faktanya. Ya. Kemudian kita tahu bahwa kenapa ada peningkatan itu pasti ada penyebabnya. Penyebabnya adalah karena produk dari Eropa, ya food and beverage khususnya itu tadi sudah disebutkan oleh moderator, healthy and safety, ya, aman dan juga tentunya lebih sehat, ya. Nah nanti urusan yang satunya lagi karena Aprindo juga baru melaunch halal center, halal produk Indonesia, nanti kita mengarah ke sana, ya. Mudah-mudahan, ya, karena memang ya, halal global is talking not only Indonesia. Nah siapa yang nggak tahu fettuccine, ya? Pasti kalau kita masuk Pizza Hut kita pesan fettuccine, biasanya seperti itu. Atau pasta, ya, susu, ya, olive oil, organic food, ya, macam-macam. Nah, 2 ini yang pasti selalu ada di rumah kita. Cheese, ya, tadi udah disebut, ya, nggak ada yang nggak punya cheese, pasti punya cheese. Cheese creamer atau cheese yang potongan itu, ya. Kemudian susu tadi, ya, saya sudah sebutkan. Kemudian ada juga pasti, saya nggak tahu semuanya apakah sudah biasa minumnya, itu wine. Nah, wine itu pasti. Beberapa medium society, to the high society pasti punya wine di rumah. Karena di retail juga jual wine soalnya. Ada beberapa retail yang kita jual wine. Oke, nah itu faktanya. Jadi kita, mengapa tadi saya katakan bahwa ini tentunya bukan as a talking about the, ya kita kumpul kemudian selesai, ya, ya nanti lihat waktu, lihat situasi lagi, tapi justru melalui pertemuan ini, saya juga adalah wakil ketua di Kadin di Perdagangan, Komtab, khususnya Komtab Tertib Tata Niaga, kita terus sedang mendorong sekarang untuk bisa ada kolaborasi baik kita yang ekspor maupun resiprokal, ya, yang import juga, supaya memang kita terus berkembang. Nah, jadi ada beberapa yang tentunya kita bisa buat, atau kita mau inisiasi kalau memang diperkenankan setelah ini, ya katakanlah sebagai satu pandangan atau harapan ke depan. Karena paling tidak ada 3 hal yang tentunya kita punya semangat yang sama, yaitu kita berusaha untuk mendapatkan competitiveness, productive capacities. Nah ini tentu pasti kita dari waktu ke waktu, apapun produknya pasti kita mengarah ke sana. Kemudian conformity with standards. Nah kita mesti banyak belajar nih, food and beverage dari Uni Eropa nih, standarisasinya pasti sangat kuat dibanding dengan kita yang belum kuat. Masalah kita adalah kualitas dan standarisasi untuk food and beverage Indonesia. Kemudian yang ketiga, connectivity to markets. Nah, bicara connectivity to markets, saya percaya para tamu kita tentunya berharap untuk poin ini. Bagaimana ada connectivity to markets, to retailers, to any kind of the programs untuk food and beverage from Uni Eropa juga dapat meningkat. Nah tentunya perlu ada kolaborasi. Eranya sekarang katanya kalau era pandemik, setelah pandemik ini, kalau sebelum pandemik era dewe, ya. Dewe itu apa bahasa Jawa, ya? Sendiri-sendiri, ya. Someone or the corporation akan lebih stand firm ketika exclusively. Tapi after pandemic, quote itu udah nggak laku lagi. Ya. Eranya sekarang, Pak Presiden kita juga sampaikan, pemerintah kita terus dorong sinergisitas dan kolaborasi. Jadi udah nggak ada lagi yang eksklusif. Oleh karenanya sekarang kalau kita lihat bisnis apapun, ya kita datang ke mall, kok jualan baju tetapi ada coffee shop-nya di dalamnya. Apa hubungannya antara jualan baju dengan coffee shop? Seperti itu ya. Toko buku di Kemang City, Lipo Mall Kemang, toko buku tapi ada jualan sepatunya. Apa hubungannya? Nah ini kolaboratif atau sinergisitas. Jadi perlu ada kolaborasi sinergisitas untuk connectivity to markets among the retailers, tapi tidak hanya dengan retailers tetapi juga dengan distributors, karena yang retailers itu bisnisnya adalah dagang. Distributor bisnisnya penyalur. Nah, ada permendaknya, ada perpresnya yang mengatur retailers sama distributor harus terpisah supaya nggak monopoli pasar. Nah, kalau yang monopoli pasar, jadinya ceritanya yang lagi rame-rame sekarang nih. Nggak kesempatan ini saya cerita. Ya, minyak goreng maksudnya. Karena Aprindo ada di garda terdepan urusan itu juga sekarang. Tapi nggak kali ini topiknya. Nah, jadi retailer sama distributor itu terpisah. Nah, perlu collaboration. Ketika berbicara food and beverage, Uni Eropa yang akan promote, akan offer, akan chip in dengan our society. Ketika berbicara connectivity markets berarti kolaborasi yang baik antara distributor dan retailers. Distributor itu adalah sektor antara. Jadi ada 3 sektor ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Sektor hulu yang produksi, sektor antara yang menyalurkan, distributor atau logistik, transporter, dan sektor hilir yang adalah retailers. Nah, 3 ini adalah satu kegiatan bersama-sama untuk menciptakan perdagangan, menciptakan pertumbuhan ekonomi, dan seterusnya. Nah, jadi kolaborasi itu tentu penting, dan tentunya beberapa kegiatan yang mungkin bisa kita initiate atau kita coba kedepankan. Saya melihat di berita-berita dari 2021 sudah pernah ada promote juga, campaign-nya juga terhadap food and beverage from Uni Eropa ya. Jadi tinggal diteruskan saja. Bagaimana untuk misalnya di retail kita membuat showcase. Ini inisiasi saja. Di retail, our stores, kita buat showcase or exhibition in the certain period di berbagai kota untuk campaign from food and beverage Uni Europe. Ya, berbicara showcase atau exhibition. Ya. Kemudian ada, ya tentunya nggak bisa cukup hanya exhibition atau juga showcase. Ada cooking demonstration misalnya. Ya, from special chef yang akan di-invite untuk food and beverage from Uni Eropa. Karena masyarakat kita ini adalah masyarakat yang lebih condong mencontoh, mendengarkan. Ya. Bapak Ibu Saudara mungkin pernah tahu ada bisnis yang 15 tahun yang lalu populer, kafe tenda. Begitu kafe tendanya berdiri, banyak yang buka kafe tenda. Nah itulah masyarakat kita seperti itu. Jadi perlu adanya campaign yang sifatnya demonstration with the cookers from special chef dan lain sebagainya untuk food and beverage from Uni Eropa untuk to get closer to the customer, to our society. And tentunya ada promotion time, ada gift promotion time untuk ya tentunya ini from each brand yang akan menjualkannya perlu diregenisasi, di-conducting untuk membuat sales promotion atau program promosi dalam satu kurun waktu, misalnya tahun baru atau hari besar keagamaan nasional tertentu, ada periodenya untuk lebih memperkenalkan lagi produk food and beverage Eropa. Ya tentunya berikutnya kalau sudah besar, karena memang peningkatannya terus berjalan untuk produk food and beverage Eropa ini, tentunya diperlukan nantinya adanya certification from our minister, from Trade Minister and Drug and Food Regulatory Agency, BPOM. Ya, ini juga untuk berkaitan dengan konsistensi ke depannya. Karena memang Indonesia saat ini juga sedang fokus untuk penerapan ini yang kami bersama dengan Kadin bersama-sama kita sedang mengelaborasi untuk G20 kita. Program Sustainable Development Goals SDG ada 17 main objek dari SDG dan tentunya diantaranya climate change dan environment ya, berkaitan dengan seperti di retail saat ini kita sudah nggak menyediakan lagi plastic bag. That is talking about the caring of the environment, avoid from the plastic bag. Ya mungkin untuk tadi disebut gastronomi, ini juga sesuatu yang baru bagi kita. Gastronomi itu artinya the art or science of good eating. Nah masyarakat kita yang namanya art and science untuk good eating ini juga masih lemah. Tentunya ini juga bisa menjadi satu bagian yang dikembangkan. Baik, mungkin demikian insight dari saya. Kiranya apa yang kita lakukan sore hari ini tidak selesai di hari ini, tetapi ada movement, ada campaign, ada next program yang sifatnya dapat memberikan kontribusi kepada masing-masing negara, Indonesia dan Uni Eropa, untuk sama-sama mendapatkan kemajuan bagi ekonomi. Ya, terima kasih. Selamat sore. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita berikan tepuk tangan kepada Bapak Roy Nicholas Mande, Ketua Umum Asosiasi Pengusaha Retail Indonesia atau APRindo. Baik Bapak dan Ibu, kita sudah mendengarkan insight dari para speaker pada sore hari ini. Selanjutnya saya akan ke sesi tanya jawab. Jadi silahkan Bapak dan Ibu yang ingin bertanya kepada para speaker kita untuk bisa raise hand dan juga menyebutkan nama serta dari mana. Ya, silahkan yang di sebelah sana boleh dibantu untuk mikrofonnya. Boleh disebutkan nama dan institusinya. Dan pertanyaannya ditujukan kepada siapa?
Greetings, my name is Nada from the Jakarta Globe. I would like to ask Mr. Sylvain Biap. Bonjour, monsieur. You mentioned that Indonesia and Europe are not trading enough in the food statement, in the food segment. Why is that? And what are the common challenges faced by French food producers or European producers when exporting to Indonesia? And perhaps other speakers can also share their insight as well on this matter. And you also mentioned that cheese is the largest food export product from France to Indonesia. What kind of cheese is the most popular here in Indonesia, considering that you have different types of cheese, like there are Camembert and Brie. And untuk Bapak Roy Nicholas Mande, saya ingin bertanya juga, ingin konfirmasi tadi untuk data-datanya itu yang 2015 itu 23,5 miliar euro ya Pak? Dan 2017 itu 130 miliar euro untuk ekspor makanan dari Uni Eropa ke Indonesia. Nah, yang saya ingin tanyakan ini saat di masa pandemi ini atau mungkin dengan adanya di krisis Ukraina juga, apakah dan global uncertainties lainnya, apakah berdampak kepada ekspor Uni Eropa khususnya di bidang makanan ke Indonesia? Terima kasih.
Oke, baik, terima kasih. Mungkin bisa tadi pertanyaan pertama for Mr. Sylvain Biap. You can answer the question.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for your question. Can you hear me? Yeah? It's okay? Great, okay. So you raised two questions to me, I believe. I will answer the second one first, but dairy products and cheese. So what I mentioned is the fact that dairy products and cheese is the first category to be exported to Indonesia. I believe cheese is part of it, but not the main part. The main part is what we call whey. There is also cream and butter, I believe, which are huge in volume, pretty much used in the food and beverage industry, obviously. So the cheese is not the main part. But when it comes to the kind of cheese which are mostly sold here, obviously we have to comply with the palate and the specifications which are expected. So you cannot find out of the 1,200 French cheeses that you have in France, all the products here. So we talk mostly of the standard ones such as Emmental, Brie, and because as it has been mentioned by the chairman of Aprindo, you need volumes as well to get a competitive price. So we have to go step by step to try to propose further cheeses, either from France or for other countries from Europe, because we've got cheese as well in many other countries, especially the country of the ambassador of the EU. To come back on the first question, related to what are the hurdles for trading, I believe it mostly relate to the procedures when it comes to trading. Most of you are into import and distribution of products, so I believe it mostly relates to these issues, especially what is, I believe, missing is the consistency and the visibility, but the ways the processes and the inspections are done, and there is also some questions which are raised right now about what will it be from October 2024 onwards, when the halal law obviously will be fully applicable to Indonesia. So I believe this is something that we need to work upon together with the industry. But on this level, since trade regulations and trade norms and trade rules are European, our topic, which is handled at the European level, I believe that the delegation of the EU is more in front in terms of making sure that these processes for facilitating trade are improved. I don't know if somebody wants to elaborate, but I believe for the two first questions, these are my responses.
Do you want to add more? First, the answer. The second question is about what the common cheese that in Indonesia. Oh, you already answered it. Okay, so kemudian untuk yang Pak Roy, mau ditambahkan Pak Roy, silahkan mau dijawab.
Tes. Ya, terima kasih. Ya, jadi ini kalau ditanya bagaimana dengan kondisi pandemik 2020, kemudian kita mulai 2020 ya, Maret, kemudian sampai sekarang 2022, mudah-mudahan tahun ini kita pertengahan tahun sudah jadi endemi. Ya, setiap negara pasti terjadi perlambatan, ya, baik itu eksporter maupun juga importer. Bahkan di tahun 2022 ini kita tahu mulai ada dampak daripada peperangan yang terjadi kan ya, Rusia dan Ukraina. Beberapa komoditi gandum kita yang hampir sekitar 24% yang diimpor dari Ukraina tentu terhenti, sehingga semuanya harus ngejar ke negara lainnya ya untuk mendapatkan gandum sehingga kita bisa masih makan roti nih. Kalau gandumnya nggak ada, nggak makan roti kita. Kemudian juga beberapa komoditi lainnya, tepung dan seterusnya. Tapi yang saya katakan di sini peningkatan itu memang terjadi karena ya bisa diakui dan bisa dilihat bahwa memang food and beverage Eropa itu semakin digemari. Nah, ini yang opportunity-nya di situ. Nah, semakin digemari produk-produk yang origin maupun juga yang tadi disebut organik maupun juga produk-produk yang tentunya punya ciri khas dari Uni Eropa itu semakin dapat diterima oleh masyarakat. Ketika lebih modernnya masyarakat, pasti impact-nya juga dari makanannya dan minumannya juga pasti akan lebih modern. Apalagi kalau dia diaspora, ya, belajar di luar, belajar di Eropa, biasa makan di sana selama sekolah, kembali ke Indonesia pasti yang dicari makanan yang dari Eropa. Jadi kita bicara peningkatan ini memang banyak hal yang menyebabkan poin-poin peningkatan, tapi kita semua harus terjerembab ketika pandemi. Ya, pandemi bukan karena negaranya nggak mau impor dan ekspor, tapi peti kemasnya yang mahal dan langka. Kemudian port yang buka untuk ekspor dan impor itu sedikit sekali di masing-masing negara ya. Karena semuanya sama seperti di Indonesia melakukan pembatasan mobilitas, pembatasan pergerakan. Nah, jadi ya tentunya ini menjadi sesuatu yang menarik ketika kita bicara sudah endemi, maka ini ada momentum untuk terjadi tentunya peningkatan dalam segala hal termasuk juga food and beverage Uni Eropa ini. Ya kita melihat bahwa satu sisi memang kita perlu balance antara ekspor dan impor kita, tapi memang ini suatu kenyataan yang mesti resiprokal. Kita nggak bisa bicara mendorong-dorong ekspor, tapi barang-barang yang dari negara mereka, dari impor itu tidak terjadi. Ya ini pasti nggak akan seimbang, nggak akan balance nanti kolaborasinya. Jadi kita tentunya perlu menerima, perlu juga mempromosikan, apalagi juga digemari makanan itu, food and beverage dari Eropa, dan saatnya untuk, karena memang kita menuju ke endemi, kita bisa buat berbagai inisiasi dan program yang tadi sudah saya jelaskan. Ya, jadi kalau ditanya data, ya datanya saya belum miliki yang 2020-2021, tetapi gambarannya terjadi peningkatan yang signifikan, terutama ketika kita juga akan masuk di endemi. Ya, mungkin demikian yang bisa dijawab.
Pak Roy, terima kasih. Ya, Bapak Ibu, ini kalau kita bicara makanan Eropa ya, selain hadir di retail, itu juga banyak tentunya kita jumpai di hotel-hotel dan juga restoran-restoran di Indonesia ya. Hampir banyak sekali pokoknya restoran dan hotel yang menyediakan makanan-makanan produk Uni Eropa gitu. Dan untuk itu di sini juga sudah ada Wakil Ketua PHRI bidang restoran, Bapak Dadan Suhendar. Ya, Pak Dadan mungkin bisa diberikan juga sharing juga nih Pak, gimana menurut Bapak perkembangan makanan minuman Eropa di hotel-hotel dan restoran-restoran di tanah air, Pak?
Oke, terima kasih. Sebelumnya mohon maaf saya bukan wakil ketua ya, tapi anggota bidang restoran. Baik, mohon maaf. Kebetulan Bapak Haryadi Sukamdhani sebagai ketua PHRI berhalangan hadir, jadi menugaskan ke saya di bidang PHRI restoran untuk hadir. PHRI melihat bahwa makanan dari Eropa dalam 5 tahun ini signifikan sangat meningkat gitu. Meningkat karena walaupun pemerintah Indonesia berkampanye untuk terhadap makanan klasik Nusantara gitu ya, namun realitanya masyarakat kita di restoran, di mal-mal tetap mencari juga makanan Eropa. Jadi restoran-restoran yang terkenal di Jakarta saja yang menyediakan pasta, pizza, wine dan lain-lain itu sangat laris juga. Kita melihatnya sangat laris. Jadi itu suatu opportunity juga bagi importir makanan dari Uni Eropa di Indonesia. Namun saya juga mengusulkan ya, itu makanan Eropa yang terkenal quality dan safety-nya itu punya konsekuensi harganya juga sangat tinggi untuk kelas middle up gitu. Terus bagaimana caranya makanan itu juga bisa didapatkan oleh masyarakat yang middle low gitu kan. Mungkin saya sarankan agar Uni Eropa membuat makanannya di Indonesia dengan berpartner dengan lokal partnernya, atau makanan itu dibikin variannya. Jadi ada varian yang high, ada varian yang middle, ada varian yang low gitu, supaya seluruh lapisan masyarakat bisa menikmati makanan dari Uni Eropa. Itu saja, terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Dadan.
Thank you very much, and I'll try to answer the question. The fact is that if you transport products over a long distance as we do between Indonesia and Europe, there is a cost in transportation that is unavoidable. Secondly, it's a fact that there are import duties levied by the Indonesian side on products. On the EU side, I can say we are virtually for all products at zero rate for Indonesian imports into the EU. On the Indonesian side, there is a tariff, so we hope that we can conclude our free trade agreement between EU and Indonesia before too long, and when that happens, we hope that we can get the zero rate also for products imported into Indonesia from the EU. Why do I think such a zero rate policy is possible? It is because our imports and exports are totally complementary. Indonesia produces different things than we do, and exports different things than we do, and so we have a very complementary trade. So there is no risk in the agri-food sector that we outcompete products on either side. So I think it's very mutually beneficial. That's one thing. Second thing, we always believe in investment accompanying trade, and we very much hope and encourage that European firms come out here to Indonesia in all sectors, but also including agri-food, to build up production capacity here, whether it's in the horticultural or the cattle sector or products. There are a couple of very good examples of European companies establishing themselves in Indonesia with sometimes big investments and important sectors. So it can be done, and we would like to see that a lot more, because we know very, very well the policy for Indonesia and the drive of your government, including the president, to build and strengthen and broaden your economic basis. We support that, and one way to do that is European investments.
Okay, thank you very much. Dan Bapak Ibu, karena keterbatasan waktu juga, sepertinya kita harus mengakhiri sesi dialog pada sore hari ini. Dan kami mengingatkan para undangan, teman-teman media dan juga dari mitra bisnis ya, untuk bisa mengisi survei atas event ini akan dikirimkan melalui email setelah acara ini. Dan juga kami harap para tamu undangan bisa visit website kami dan juga follow akun media sosial untuk mendapatkan informasi lebih banyak tentang produk makanan dan minuman Uni Eropa. Alamat websitenya dan akun media sosial nanti bisa dilihat pada EU Food Wall Display atau poster di event di tempat acara ini berlangsung. Dan tentunya Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, kami harap untuk bisa posting nih di media sosial ya tentang event kita hari ini dan berbagi pengalaman. Karena setelah ini kita juga akan mencicipi, rasanya tidak lengkap ya kalau kita hanya tadi sharing saja, tapi kita tidak mencicipi langsung seperti apa produk-produk makanan dari Uni Eropa ini. Kita akan mencicipinya setelah ini, dan nanti kami mohon Bapak dan Ibu bisa juga untuk posting di media sosial Bapak dan Ibu, berbagi pengalamannya bagaimana menikmati produk Uni Eropa ya, dan tag untuk di tag atau mention ke akun media sosial kami nih. Dan setelah ini kami akan undang para tamu undangan untuk mencicipi hidangan makanan dan minuman Uni Eropa yang disajikan di tasting station di sebelah kanan panggung ya, untuk bisa mengeksplor lagi lebih banyak kisah-kisah tentang makanan-makanan Uni Eropa yang ada di wall display. Jadi setiap makanan ini memang punya ceritanya tersendiri, punya kisah-kisahnya tersendiri. Nah, kisah-kisah ini sama menariknya ya, seperti makanan-makanan Indonesia yang juga punya kisahnya. Nah, ini nanti bisa dibagi di media sosial teman-teman Bapak dan Ibu sekalian ya. Dan tentunya pada event kali ini juga bisa digunakan untuk mengembangkan jaringan bisnis dengan sesama tamu undangan, atau mungkin nanti mau ada yang bertanya langsung dengan para speaker di saat sambil menikmati hidangan, kami persilahkan. Dan yang pasti sedikit conclusion untuk diskusi kita yang memang makanan produk F&B dari Uni Eropa ini sudah menerapkan standar kualitas yang begitu tinggi ya Bapak dan Ibu. Jadi jangan takut atau jangan harus merasa begitu aman untuk mengkonsumsinya karena makanannya memang sehat, kualitasnya juga standarnya tinggi dengan sangat minim menggunakan pestisida dan tentunya ini merupakan market yang sangat besar dan sangat bagus untuk bisa kita konsumsi di pasar Indonesia. Baik, tentunya kita berharap di masa yang akan datang kita bisa melihat lebih banyak lagi ya produk-produk makanan dan minuman Uni Eropa yang lebih beragam lagi di pasar Indonesia. Jadi kita tidak perlu jauh-jauh ke Uni Eropa, tapi kita bisa langsung makan dan minum dan mencicipinya di tanah air ya. Dengan demikian kami harus akhiri acara kita pada sore hari ini. Sekali lagi kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada para undangan. Kami ucapkan also thank you for all the speaker that attend this event. Ya, harapannya di kedepan hari kita juga semakin berkembang lagi pasar F&B Uni Eropa di Indonesia ya. Sekali lagi terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Kami ucapkan selamat sore, sampai jumpa dan kita akan langsung menikmati hidangan yang telah disediakan. Terima kasih, saya Kenia Gusnaini pamit undur diri.